Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So welcome all the devotees for today's Bhagavatam session, where we are highlighting on the question and answer session, which is happening between the Suta Goswami and Saunakadya Rishis. And especially we have today Megha Mataji. I personally knew her maybe in 2014 or 2018, I suppose.
19.
19. Okay, 19. Saurabh introduced her as his would-be wife in one program, and there first time I met her. I saw she's very committed, she's very studious, she's very expert in from material perspective. She has did a very responsible jobs at various places, and in spite of all these exposed to the material advancement outside, she remained very culturally deep and connected to the families. And that's how now we see a very wonderful example which they are setting up in Ranchi. Recently they shifted to Ranchi, and especially their entire family is very amazing. And I saw her very eager to study, eager to understand, assimilate the things and try to apply them. And we are fortunate that she is going to share certain important principles from those verses of Bhagavatam for the benefit of each one of us. So we'll request now Megha Mataji to please share around 15 minutes. You'll have 15 minutes time. In that, Megha, you can share your realizations. As I mentioned earlier, you can highlight certain points from the verses. You may not recite the verses, but I will go to the verse. As you pointed the verse, I will show that verse in the screen. Then you can highlight whatever you would like to speak from that particular point. Okay, like that we'll go. I think Saurabh Prabhu is managing the whole thing from here. Is he there?
Yes, Puji.
He's there. Narottam is sleeping?
No, mom. Mother-in-law is taking care of him.
Your mother. Okay.
Hare Krishna, please. Dandavat pranam. So, firstly, like these set of verses are very, very special actually, because Prabhupada in his Jaldut Yatra, he wrote a very intense poem where he shared his heart in while first time in his Jaldut Yatra, where he was traveling to the west to take the message of the Lord. And in those in that time, in between that while writing that Bengali poem, in between he has quoted these verses, verse 16 to 21. These 5 verses are directly quoted by Prabhupada in that intense, in that moment, in that time. And these verses are like very, we have heard them very often, and it is like used as a base for the whole great ISKCON movement. Yeah. So they are very special and very important verses. While reading them also, I realized that, like, in general in devotional life, sometimes we get stuck up and we feel that what to do, I'm not able to, like, we sometimes we feel that just not possible with everything coming together. I'm not able to take my spiritual duties seriously. I don't know how to proceed. So in that situation, if you are, then certainly these verses are like an what do you say, eye opening kind of a thing, where it is written how to go ahead from that. What will you do, and what will you do, and Krishna will personally help you to proceed. So this fact I like very much in Prabhupada's purports is that he's very much relating to human being and sharing. Like, suppose it's very easy to say that uh, associating with women is bad and wealth is bad or things like that, he, when everyone can say don't do this, don't do that, but in his purpose Prabhupada has written that I know that it is bad and it has been bad since time immemorial, and great sages have also fell down to such things, and it has been a problem. I mean, material conditionings are like that. But if you do these things diligently, no matter how many conditionings you have, you will, Krishna will personally in your heart, he will help you get rid of those material hankerings and all. So that is the thing which, I mean, a person when reading it, he can really feel that yes, it is being accepted that these are the problems. But if we actually do what is written, like sincerely try to practice, then step by step here in these purports Prabhupada has written that how you can actually raise from that level to actually Krishna will help you from inside, otherwise it is not possible on our own strength. And then Krishna will help us internally, and then it we will be able to make gradual progress in this direction. So if talking about verse 16, this verse actually it it tells that what is the first step, like what is the first step of uh, getting into first qualification or first step. So first step he says is serving the devotees, serving the pure devotees. Here the importance of serving has been specified, because when we serve the devotees, two things happen. First is that we get some of their qualities and gradually, and second thing is we develop an interest in hearing the message of the Lord. So these two things forms the basis. I mean, it acts like a beginning. So here it is. This verse specifies that mainly. One line from the purport I'm quoting: the servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. So it is said here that Krishna actually becomes more happy when we serve the devotees, not like there's a confusion, right? We should serve God or we should serve devotees. I mean, what is more preferred? So here it is specified that Krishna will be more happy if we are serving the devotees, because the pure devotees, they are doing everything. I mean, they are dedicating their entire life for Krishna. So Krishna feels very pleased when people take care of devotees and they serve the devotees very nicely. So this is one big message for us, like to as a starting point, we should, if we don't have desire at present, we can try to serve the devotees as much as possible, and that will please Krishna, and that will develop an eagerness in our heart to hear the message of Krishna. And then this eagerness is actually in the last line of the purport. Prabhupada writes that this eagerness to hear about the God is the first qualification of a devotee for entering the to enter the kingdom of God. So first one should develop the eagerness, and how to develop? By serving the devotees as much as possible. Yeah. Uh, if I like in the next verse, Prabhupada says that yeah, the thing which I was mentioning before, how Krishna personally cleanses the heart. This is what is specified here. So we all know that Krishna is a Paramatma who is situated in everyone's heart. So here in this verse, actually the effects of hearing are specified, that what happens, like we saw that we should how we will develop desire to hear. Now when we develop desire to hear and actually hear the message, then what is the effect of it? The effect of it is that Krishna will personally in our heart cleanse the material desires, all the he will we and and Prabhupada also writes that Lord is actually more anxious to help us than we are. Sometimes, I mean, in general, people will not want to go back to Godhead. They'll feel that we are happy here, we are doing such and such thing, they're happy. But uh, Lord is actually more anxious than us. The desire we have that we want to go back to Godhead, Lord is more anxious to call us. So if we just develop this urge for hearing and hear the message of the Lord, then Krishna will personally in our heart, he will help us in that journey. He will help us remove all the lust, greed, anger, all such material uh, conditionings which we are going through. That we will, Krishna will help us to cleanse that, and it will and help us in this direction. Yeah, here in this verse only Prabhupada has mentioned that to become last in the last paragraph, that it is to become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment. He's like acknowledging that this is not a surprise, because every living being is associated with such things from time immemorial. Mm, and and uh, it is very difficult to get rid of them. But if one is engaged in hearing, if one hears the glories of the Lord, then he gets the sufficient strength. By the grace of the God only, he will get sufficient strength to protect himself from such disturbances. And gradually, all disturbing elements will get removed from his mind. Yeah. So very step by step Prabhupada has explained that serving the devotees, that will create an urge to hear the message, and once we hear the message, then our heart internally it will become dirt free. And moving on to the verse 18, here in the verse 18, uh, very specifically Prabhupada has mentioned about two Bhagavats. One is the book Bhagavat, and one is the Bhagavat, as in the pure devotees, serving the devotees. So in the translation, if we read, Prabhupada has used the word regular attendance in the classes of the Bhagavatam. So while reading this verse, it was like a realization for me. Oh, that is why we have everyday classes, everyday Bhagavatam classes in all ISKCON temples, because in the Bhagavat itself, it's written that Nityam Bhagavat Sevya will have such positive effects. So that is why these verses are like the basis of ISKCON, where Prabhupada has written that we should be regularly present in Bhagavatam classes, which means that uh, uh, Bhagavat, he has two meanings here. One is book Bhagavat, and also serving the Bhagavats, the pure devotees. Because why they are both are so close? I mean, both are one and same. It's written in the purport, because actually book Bhagavat also explains about the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. And pure devotees, they all in their life are living on principles based on the Bhagavat. So actually one gets same benefit from both, by reading the Bhagavatam and by serving the Bhagavats. So one story is written in the purport about Narad Dev. So he is like, in his life we saw the miraculous advantage of serving the devotees, because he was a son of a maid servant, but maid servant was serving the sages, and he was a son, so he was present in that place, and he also associated with the sages and had remnant food of the sages, served the sages basically. And that had a miraculous effect, and he became such a great devotee like Narad Dev, although he was son of a maid servant. So by this story we can understand, like from Narad Dev's example, we can understand the miraculous benefits of this words, like miraculous benefits of serving the devotees of the Lord. Yeah. Yeah, and this is also like the in the last line of the purport, Prabhupada mentions like the if a neophyte devotee, like somebody who's a beginner, if he does these two regularly, like message of the book Bhagavad, if he grasps every day, and a- and also it is mentioned that it has to be message has to he has to receive it from devotee Bhagavats. And combination of these two bhagavats will actually help the neophyte devotee to make progress on and on. Like if he continues to regularly do these two things, book bhagavat and serving the bhagavats, then he will keep on making progress. It will be like a he will move in a forward direction. He will progress very fast in devotional life if he does these two things regularly. uh, in the next verse, which is verse 19, it is explained uh, the effect of serving two bhagavats. Now, what happens? What is the effect of serving these two bhagavats, book bhagavat and devotee bhagavat? That irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, and irrevocable, which means that never returning, like he will never come back. For always the loving service is will be established in the heart, and the modes of passion and ignorance, like such as lust, desire, hankering, all these things will disappear from the heart, and then the devotee will get established in goodness, and he will become completely happy. That is in verse number 19, that once it like what is once we start serving these two bhagavats regularly, what will happen, what will transform within us? So it is mentioned that we will develop irrevocable loving service in the heart, and our heart will get cleansed of the material modes of passion and ignorance, and then we'll be established in goodness, and this will help us to become completely happy always. Yeah. So here in the purport, Prabhupada makes a very clear distinction between an inactive fool and a pure devotee, because sometimes like at from a lower consciousness, if somebody sees, then he might see the activity as the same, that inactive fool, he is not doing anything, and he may see that okay, the devotee is also just chanting, and I mean not doing anything. Actually he might get confused between these two things. So Prabhupada has explained very clearly that that a self-satisfied Atmanandi is transcendental to the material state of existence, whereas the inactive fool is in the state of foolish ignorance. So externally it may look same, but internally there's a huge difference between the two, between the Atmanandi and the inactive fool. So Prabhupada has clearly explained that difference, because like he says that in our normal constitutional position means like in our original position, in our lives we are in conditioned position, but in the constitutional position one is always in spiritual bliss and is fully satisfied. So that has the term that is referred as Brahma Bhuta or Atmanandi, and which is a state of self satisfaction. But this is different from the satisfaction of the inactive fool. Uh, and here in one line, Prabhupada very clearly writes like devotional service. Like bhakti is not just devotion; it is devotional service. Service meaning like we have to do very much a lot of it is a very much active thing where we have to do service to the Lord, not just in our heart. We can say that okay, I have a lot of devotion and that's all. That is not. That is why Prabhupada always translates bhakti as devotional service. So here also, like Prabhupada is saying, that devotional service is not inactivity, but it is the unalloyed activity of the soul. So there's a this we have to understand that devotional service is not inactivity, but it is a constant activity of the soul. So So soul, what happens in this material world is it becomes adulterated with many things, and it becomes diseased. How? In the form of lust, desire, hankering, foolishness, sleep. All these are qualities of modes of passion and ignorance. So, but effect of devotional service helps one get rid of these things, and then devotee becomes fixed in the mode of goodness, and that position is called Vasudev, and it is a state of unmixed sattva or Shuddha sattva. So only in this Shuddha sattva state one can always see Krishna eye to eye by dint of pure affection for the Lord. So it is yeah. So in this state, Krishna, a devotee can see Krishna uh, eye to eye, like um, in pure affection for the Lord. So yeah. So how we can understand is that when we serve the two bhagavats, when we are serving the two bhagavats and we are hearing the message of the Lord, then in our heart we are getting rid of these modes of passion and ignorance, and we are raising ourselves to the Shuddha Sattva state. Yeah. Uh, so so in my from my life, if I give example, so basically basically when I was not when I was not aware about devotional life, that time I could see that many things disturbed me a lot. Like for example, if some of my colleague or some of my friends are doing something, mm, which I feel is like, if they are going to outside nations for studies, or if they are getting some very high promotion or something, I mean some such material achievements, or something like that. So these things used to actually disturb me. I remember instances where I used to cry whole night. Once what happened, my roommate, she got an opportunity to go to US from the project, like from the office. So I cried whole night. I remember that I cried whole night, that why I am not getting that opportunity, and because I am also in the same position, I am also equally qualified, then why I didn't, why this have, I was like that. I cried whole night, I remember. And now I can actually laugh at it, because in this journey past, this is like 5 6 years back. So when I got aware about devotional aspects of life, and what is the purpose of life, and how it, like about that, I was not aware that people are conditioned and this happens with everyone. So awareness about these facts and knowledge about devotion actually makes you feel so happy internally. Now nothing like such activities never disturbs me. I feel that yes, everybody has come with a different set of understandings and their previous life karma, and they are conditioned, and their destinations will be different, and their journey will be different. So now it doesn't disturb me that much. So I mean, although I'm not situated in devotional service, like I'm not doing my bhakti properly, so that is the progressive journey where we have to uh, get fixed in devotional service. And these verses, these steps which are specified, actually it helps a person feel that, wow, I know the way. I'm not able to do it today, but now I know the way. If I get opportunity, or I seek for such opportunities, I can actually progress. And the way is given by Prabhupada, that this you do, and you can actually achieve it. You can, Krishna will help you personally get rid of all such things. So yeah, this is the, like, I wanted to share this realization from my personal life. And yeah. mm, if from verse wise, if we move to text 20, text 20 is also explaining that established in the mode of the translation I'm reading, thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. So what this means is that uh, now actually here in the purport, Prabhupada has explained, like in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse which says that out of many men, only one person will have interest in hearing the message of Lord. And out of thousands such people, someone will know who will get scientific knowledge of the Lord or who will know the Lord. So it is very rare actually. So here in this verse, how to know the Lord, that is being specified. Like now uh, up till verse 19 we came to know that how we are being situated in that goodness, and now in that mode the man whose mind if he continues to do devotional service, then what happens is it is being raised to another level where he will get positive scientific knowledge about the personality of God. And in, yeah, that is the main meaning here. This is verse 20. So here uh, here in the from the purport I've highlighted few points. So it is said that yeah, the Bhagavad Gita point which I mentioned that it is very rare. Out of many thousands there will be someone who will actually uh, reach this level. And also Prabhupada says that one cannot be a devotee unless one at least qualifies as a Brahmana, which means that one has to be situated in goodness to come to this platform where he can know the Lord. So at least he has to qualify as a Brahmana. And then he says that a pure Vaishnava is a liberated soul and is transcendental even to the position of a Brahmana. So first one has to at least come in the mode of goodness, but a pure Vaishnava is actually in the mode of what is it called? Shuddha Sattva. Beyond, even beyond mode of goodness. He is even transcendental to mode of goodness where uh, that, and in that position one can know the scientific knowledge of the Lord. Yeah, in the last part of the purport, in the last paragraph, uh, also Prabhupada says that the fact is, however, that one cannot understand the science of personality of Godhead unless one is freed from the contamination of the material modes, even up to the stage of a Brahmana. Yeah, so one has to actually be free from all the material modes, goodness, passion and ignorance first, then one has comes on the goodness, but then even that level he has to transcend, and then he actually knows the understands the science of personality of Godhead. Yeah. Coming to the next verse, which is text 21. Uh, Here also uh, the effect is mentioned, that what happens is, yeah, here very nice analogy Prabhupada gives between sun and darkness. So Krishna is like the sun, and the all the material speculations, all everything is like the darkest midnight. So he says that as soon as one does devotion to Krishna, and as soon as the Krishna sun is awakened in one's heart, then all the material darkness, all the speculations about the Lord is at once cleared off, because sun and darkness cannot exist together. So as soon as one gets awakened to Krishna, and one Krishna sun is arisen in one's heart, then all the material darkness is immediately cleared off. So this verse also, like bhidyate hridaya granthis, all the knots in the heart is pierced and all the misgivings are cut to pieces. So it's like a very strong verse where, like, it is mentioned that these big knots in our heart are all pierced by like the words if we see, so we can understand that how strong it is, like how strong the effects of uh, being situated in goodness and knowing the God by hearing, by serving the devotees, all the knots in the heart is pierced and all the misgivings are cut to pieces. Yeah, and also it's very important thing is mentioned that all the chain of fruitive actions is terminated. uh, which means that, like, at this position, what happens is, what I've understood is, like, the like a normal living being, life after life, their karma gets accumulated, right, and they are serving the effects of their karma and all like that. But when one comes to devotional service, and when he is fixed up in that, what happens, he gets freed from those karmic reactions, and which immediately helps him. Like, it is such a big thing, right? You will immediately get free from all the reactions. So that is what is mentioned, that mm, the effect of devotional service is like the bad knots in the heart is pierced, all misgivings are cut to pieces, and all the chain, so many thousands and thousands of births, so many reactions we might have accumulated, but it will immediately get terminated, because the Krishna as a son will, if he's awakened in our heart, then yeah, uh, we'll be freed from all this karmic reactions. Yeah, in the very last line of the purport, in material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work, yeah, and enjoys the good and bad effects of those actions life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain of karma. His actions no longer create any reaction. Yeah, this is what I was specifying. Then yeah, the last verse, which is text 22. Here, I did not understand this very clearly, like it's a query for me, but yeah, here, speciality of serving, it has been specified why devotional service to Lord Krishna is specific, like it is the most important thing. Why it is that, that is explained here, that there are many more avatars, like Lord Shri Krishna is the Swayam Roop, and all other forms of Godhead like Baldev, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, Pradyumna, and Narayan are the Purush avatars, Guna avatars, and Leela avatars, Yuga avatars, and many other thousands of manifestations of the personality of Godhead are Lord Shri Krishna's plenary portions and integrated parts. Mm, like it is explained that Lord Krishna is the original form of Godhead. Uh, yeah, his pastimes are eternal and are manifested in due course once in a day of Brahmaji. So basically, what I understood in this verse is the speciality of devotional service unto Lord Shri Krishna, personality of Godhead, that is specifically highlighted here. The importance of being devotees of Lord Krishna himself. Yeah. Mm, uh,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for giving me this opportunity to speak. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your wonderful lightning points which you shared. This is exactly what I was looking from devotees, that when they share, they should speak certain points and reflecting their lives. And especially when you're mentioning the verses, which are very complicated actually, they're very technical verses. And in these technical verses, you are relating with life examples, that is very worth laudable. And the way you related with this development of hearing process, chanting, hearing, this entire, these 6 to 7 verses speak about hearing, the importance of hearing in the association of the pure devotees, and applying that hearing and experiencing the effects of hearing. So thank you, Megha Mataji, for your wonderful contribution. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadodayamudiraye Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Godev Shloke Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. So these 6 to 7 verses is in continuation to answers which Suta Goswami is giving to the Shaunakadi Rishis. Shaunakadi Rishis asked 6 questions, and the first 2 questions are about the ultimate good for people in general and what is the essence of all the scriptures which has to be applied. And then in answer to these 2 questions, he gives one common answer, that is Bhakti, devotional service to especially to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, while elaborating on this answer, in the last session we were discussing about how this Bhakti is attained by all our prescribed activities. Irrespective of what Varana and Ashram you will be situate yourself in, the ultimate goal or the Ardha, the gain which you are looking is for Bhakti. And that's how the Varnashram is designed. Apart from Bhakti, any other gain you want to keep as a gain, you will only lose in life. You lose mentally, you lose physically, you lose materially, you lose the satisfaction of the heart. If devotional service is not kept at the goal of ultimate, a goal which you want to achieve in life. And now in these 7 verses, Suta Goswami is elaborating the different stages of development which happen in the devotee's life when he takes to devotional service. How the devotional service first takes birth in the heart of a devotee, the desire, and then how it develops gradually, and what is the way and how with whose help it happens. All of us might have gone through the 9 stages of devotional service. We hear from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Somebody would like to speak, what are the 9 stages of devotional service? Anyone from here in this session?
Yes, Puji. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yes.
Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam.
Yeah, these are the 9 process of devotional services. I'm asking the 9 stages of devotional service.
Okay, that is from Shraddha, then to Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya,
Sadhu Sangha, and then
Bhajana Kriya,
Bhajana Kriya,
then Anartha Nibriti,
Anartha Nivriti,
then Nishtha,
Nishtha,
then Ruchi,
Ruchi,
then Bhava, then
Ruchi ke baad Asakti,
Asakti,
Asakti, yeah.
then Bhava,
Bhava,
then Prema.
then Prema. So you all list down it. It's very important. Now what we are discussing, these 7 verses, they are related to all these 9 stages of devotional service. See, Suta Goswami is coming in parampara. He will not speak here and there. He will speak in line with the parampara. And we can see that how each of these verses which Suta Goswami is enlightening the Shaunakadi Rishis, is explaining the stages in which a devotee develops. In fact, just like Megha Mata is mentioned, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada speaks about the Narada's past life, Narada Muni's past life as a boy, and that we will see in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1st canto, 5th chapter. Now we're in the 2nd chapter. We'll go to the 5th chapter. In the 5th chapter, we'll see the development of Narada's devotion. And he also goes through all these 14, all these stages, others of the 9. So 9 stages of devotional service are explained in more detail in this particular 7 verses. In fact, these 7 verses speak these 9 stages in more elaborate as 14 stages. 14 stages of devotional development. I'll just share one document which can be very useful to understand what are the 14 stages in which a devotee develops. And this will give an understanding about this will give an understanding about how that you are able to see. So these are the 14 stages of bhakti. So first is Satam Kripa, just like Mati is mentioning. Satam Kripa is what? The causeless mercy of a devotees. See, devotional service is causeless and seamless. We discussed na Ahetuki Apratihata. When you say Ahetuki Apratihata, what does it mean? Ahetuki means there is no cause for it. There is no motivation for it. And another definition of it is Ahetuki means there is no specific orientation, or you can say specific reason why this bhakti has sprouted in your bhakti. It's causeless. No material qualification can bring bhakti in the heart of a person. In fact, it is only by bhakti which is in the heart of a devotee, which can cause the bhakti in the heart of other devotee. So it's therefore here in this particular stages, the first one, what we see is the Satam Kripa. Satam Kripa means the causeless mercy of a devotee. It is only when a devotee causelessly comes in your life, and then he sprouts the desire to practice bhakti. See, love of Krishna is within the heart of it's a natural, it's covered. But the desire to reawakening it has to be given by a devotee. Without the contact of a pure devotee, sometimes the darshan, sometimes pure devotee darshan itself, they see from a long distance, and they impregnate the desire to practice bhakti in our heart. And sometimes the devotee may not be so advanced like a pure devotee, and others by their own example teaching, they inspire the bhakti in our heart. And there are others who may not be in that level of inspiring and giving an exemplary life, living life to inspire you, but they may give you opportunities to render services. They become causeless. They give, okay, ye karo, wo karo, opportunity dete. But just by giving that opportunity, giving you space to contact with devotional service, naturally the desire to perform devotional service increases. That's Satam Kripa. And the second stage is called Mahat Seva. So it's only by mercy of devotee that you get the association of the devotees. And in that association, you serve the devotees. And while rendering services, the first thing which happens is we develop faith. This is called Shraddha. And this is what relates to Adho Shraddha. And this Adho Shraddha stage, basically the first 4 points, first 4 stages come. In these 14 stages, the first 4 stages come in Adho Shraddha. You get some devotees association, they causelessly come and knock your door, and they invite you for programs, or they invite you for festivals, and there you go and experience an opportunity, you get the service to do. First service is you hear from them. First service you may do that you may get to honor Mahaprasad. So first service may be that you got some session to be arranged, so you arrange the sessions. Or it may be services like you sponsor a festival. First time you go as a well-wisher and you just sponsor a festival, and you get opportunity to do arati for the deities, and like this. So this is called Satam Kripa and Mahat Seva. In that seva, by serving the devotees, what happens now? Regularly going on like this. This goes for a consistently long time, and then by when a devotee starts going regularly in a community of devotees, and experiencing the faith, he develops faith in that community of devotees. He sees varieties of devotees with varieties of interests and what you call natures, and trying to render devotional service to Krishna. And he develops the faith. Faith about what? Faith in the devotees, faith in the devotional service, and faith in the presence of an active personality, that is Krishna. Krishna is actively present in the lives of many devotees. That's what a devotee observes. And then, especially is inspired to take shelter of a pure devotee. Guru Padashraya. In that association, the culmination, it depends on sincerity of a devotee. For Narada, it took maybe just a period of 4 months. He developed the faith of surrendering to a guru, the aspiring to take shelter of a guru. And that guru is one of that Vaishnava whom he took regular association, and one of that Vaishnava whom he had interactions, the Vaishnava with whom he experienced that his faith is developing more and more. And this 4 stages, the first 4 stages come under the Adava Shraddha. And the culmination of Adava Shraddha is the Sadhu Sangha. And the 4th stage also reflects in the Sadhu Sangha. You can say the Guru Padashraya, seeking shelter at the feet of Guru. This is the Sadhu Sangha. And in that Sadhu Sangha, under the instructions, under the guidance of the Guru, if a person starts engaging in those activities which his Guru is engaged in. His Guru is engaged in, like we do in the Samsara Dava prayers, Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shringara Tan Mandira Machanado Ruktasya Bhaktam Chaniyunjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charana Ravindam. So Guru is not only engaging in the worship of the Vigrahas and washing the temple, but also you give that opportunity to the disciples. Therefore, you see the disciples' devotional bhajana, bhajana spriha it is called, the eagerness to worship, eagerness to hear more, eagerness to chant more, eagerness to know more about the Lord and the pure devotees from the mouth of the his spiritual master. He developed that eagerness. And this eagerness is called as Bhajaneshu Spriha. This is the first step in Bhajana Kriya. Until in Bhajana Kriya doesn't happen forcefully. It has to be voluntarily. The Bhajana should happen voluntarily. And that what eagerness to worship, that gets manifested because he developed that faith in the Guru. And he saw Guru himself is engaged like that. Therefore, the disciple also feels like that he wants to engage. And this is the beginning of his Bhajana Kriya. And whatever other services he will do, he will be doing now. Whatever bhajan he does, sadhana he does, all he does as an instruction from the Guru. And that is called the 6th one, the Bhakti or Bhajana Kriya. He does the Kriya as per the instruction of the Guru. However, his heart will have all the difficulties, anarthas, which are pounding him from all sides. But what the devotee does is that he will not get disheartened because the self-gratificatory desires are like the ripples in the river. The ripples in the river. But the moment the river reaches the ocean, all the ripples are overcome by the tides of the samudra. The samudra लहराई वो क्या करता है, इस नदी की जो रिपल्स को पूरा ढक देते हैं. उसी प्रकार एक गुरु की जो सेवा है, गुरु दिया हुआ वाणी एंड गुरु दिया हुआ सेवा के माध्यम से एक भक्त क्या करते हैं, अपने जीवन में जो अनर्थ है जिससे वो अतल पुतल हो रहे हैं उससे बाहर निकल पाते हैं. He can overcome is what you call is conditionings by giving priority to Guru's Vani and Guru Seva. That's how the Bhajana Kriya happens. So in the Sadhu Sangha, it's very crucial that you develop a faith in a spiritual master and spiritual masters also. Faith in the Siksha Guru, Siksha Gurus, faith in the Diksha Guru. And you are able to practice devotional studies as per their instructions. You're able to practice the bhajana as per their instructions. And in this way, what happens, the bhajana kriya goes on. And then comes the anardhopagamam, the desire, anardha nivritti, starts from the 7th stage. Anardha nivritti, nivritti is the option, it's a beginning. All these stages are not one after another. They are not like ladder. Rather, they are like, like parallel, like parallelly they go on. Another everything continues till prema, till the 12th stage. Another disappearance obstacle. Gradually it happens. So the last anger, pride, greed gets goes. And the last another which goes from the heart is envy. Envy, the false ego, the false pride. That's how this anadhopagamam continues. And then comes a nishta, where is steadiness. Steadiness is maturity in the faith. The faith is there earlier, but the nishta is maturity in the faith. His faith gets so matured that a devotee is not affected by the various challenges which he is going through. He becomes steady in his practice of devotional service. It's not just about following regularly your devotional practices. It's about regularly maintaining that consciousness. The consciousness, generally we become swayed away by the moods or the environment around them. But if that consciousness is able to be kept steady because of maturity, it gains so much maturity that everything what is happening is seen in relation with the Krishna. That's what happens. And then comes the ruchi, the taste. The taste is about not having taste in the material things. The first step in the taste is not having taste in the mode of passion and ignorance. Rather, one has taste in goodness, sattva guna. And then that ruchi gradually develops into the firm attachment, asakti. And asakti turns into fondness. Fondness means the tenderness, rati, the tenderness in the heart to find sentiments of devotional services. There are many very sentiments related to the Lord, to the pure devotees, to the Guru and everything. You just fine-tuned with it. You're very tender, you're very sensitive with it, fondness you develop. That is called as bhava or rati. And that rati transforms into pure love of Godhead, devotional love. And this pure love, once manifested naturally, which is already in the heart of each one of us, that is fully manifested at the stage of 12th stage. And there he starts finding the reciprocation from Krishna. Krishna's vision, Krishna realization starts manifesting now and ever. Nava rasa. He experiences the new mellows in that. He experiences Krishna's hand, Krishna's. He actually sees Krishna face to face. It's not it's not like for sake of understanding it is given, but actually it's a reality. A devotee sees Krishna face to face at the stage of 13th stage. So, and the 14th is Harer Madhurya Bhav, directly experiencing the sweetness. Maybe he will, the devotee experiences the fragrance coming from the body of the Lord. He hears the flute sound of the Lord. He hears the sweet voice of the Lord addressing him. Like that he experiences, he gets the anubhava. Harer Madhurya Anubhava. He experiences the sweetness of the Lord. So if you see, the 9 stages are reflected in these 14 stages. The other Shraddha basically refers to the first 3 and a part of the 4th one, other Shraddha. And then comes Sadhu Sangha, which is like culmination of taking exclusive shelter and guidance of a pure devotee. And then Bhajana Kriya, then comes the Bhajana Kriya, which is 5 and 6, Bhajana Spriya and Bhakti. And then after Bhajana Kriya, Anadya Nivritti happens, which is a constant process. One should not be discouraged, disheartened, rather focusing on service to Guru, one should go ahead. And then come the Nishta. Nishta with the steadiness in the maturity in the faith that happens. And Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava or Rati, Bhava, Rati, and then Prema. And then Vishnu Chakra Thakur, in his commentaries, he adds 2 more stages. That is, after the one attains Bhakti, he actually sees Lord face to face, and he also get an personal experience, direct experiences of the Lord, sweetness in the form of his touch, his fragrance, his voice, his flute sound, everything he experiences, the devotee. And now we will see in these 16 to 22, which all verses are focusing on which on stages. This will make it more clear for our understanding. So at least till here you are clear. Anyone has any question till here? And I will share. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we will go to those verses.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I'm just in the communication with, I heard from Chaitanya Charitamrita that there was a communication between Haridas Thakur with the father of Raghunath Dasa Goswami, and there he was telling that when a devotee reached the stage of Nishtha, I think on that stage he attained spiritual world, na Prabhuji? Golok, Nishtha at the stage, because he already cleared the obstacles of chanting, like anarthas during chanting.
Actually, in one of the understanding which Janivas Prabhu was mentioning from the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's one book called Madhurya Kadambani. We will take some time on that aspect. There, it said that till the stage of Nishtha, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions, it's our endeavor. Okay? Well, we have to consistently keep that endeavor. Hello. And Krishna is observing. He's within the heart observing and and trying to remove the obstacles, which may be very deadly or detrimental in the practice of bhakti of a devotee. And it's not that he will remove all the obstacles. He'll keep certain obstacles for testing or qualifying or glorifying the devotee. Sometimes he keeps some obstacles for purifying the karma of a devotee, like that. But he will remove certain obstacles. In this way, he gives a space for an individual to consistently do his endeavor till Nishtha. Once he attains the firm faith, actually, Krishna takes things in his hand fully. Fully means what? Krishna is actually start giving him the ruchi. Krishna will actually give him the asakti, the fondness. Krishna will actually give him the tenderness in the heart for fine sentiments in bhakti. That is rati or bhava. And Krishna actually awards him the prema. But even in those stages, the endeavor of a devotee continues, but he starts finding the reciprocation of the Lord indirectly. And actually, after attaining the prema, then he'll get the direct experience of the Lord. So in this way, if you see, once the moment Lord is reciprocating, in this way, this statement, what you're mentioning of Haridas Thakur's teachings to the Raghunath there, in that section, yes, after the Nishtha is actually living in the spiritual world. Even the material is here in this particular thing. He will, because the last, even traces of anarthas remain at the stage of bhava. And that's what we see in the life of Jada Bharat. He attained till stage of bhava. But even after attaining bhava, he skipped down because of his attachment to a deer. He developed an affection for the deer and he slipped down. So, yes, till Nishtha, we have to endeavor a lot. And after the Nishtha, Krishna also takes part in uplifting you more and more by giving indirect experience. Directly, he won't be coming, but he'll give many, many experiences.
Yes,
He
yes,
awards.
Prabhuji. And also the sadhu sangha, it goes simultaneously in all the stages, na Prabhu, till the top also.
Because as I mentioned, the bhajana kriya should be based on sadhu sangha.
Yeah.
So the bhajana doesn't stop after anadanivriti. Because the bhajana should continue and the bhajana becomes a part of his constitutional duties as a devotee goes ahead. For example, like all of us are practicing chanting, hearing as a regulation in life. If you are not regulated like this, you will do some other activities, conditional activities, and we may fall down or we may tend to become materialistic. Therefore, not to protect ourselves from being materialistic, we are doing the activities of devotional service and regulating it. However, over a stages, as a person goes to Nishtha, where is matured in his faith, he can see everything in aspect related to devotional service. And he would like to spend more and more time in devotional direct principal activities of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevana, Archanam. He finds that is the way of life. Just like when I came to home, obviously here there will be a lot of responsibilities which are there now to fulfill. People see that when I'm doing certain activity of chanting or hearing or reading, they say that he's doing his time pass. Okay, and the people consider it is like a time pass, but actually we are actually in the pastimes. A devotee feels that he is into the pastimes of the Lord, performing the devotion. Okay.
Yes,
Hari
Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Yeah. So now 16th verse onwards, we will see how these 14 stages are reflected. Okay. Now I'll not share this. I'll share another PPT that will make it more clear. You're able to see, Hariva?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see.
This is the presentation which is given by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. I just taken from there and I am presenting here. So there are 14 stages of development in the Bhakti. So text 16 to 22 presented the progression of an aspiring devotee as given by the Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. So the 16th verse. So we will recite that verse. Okay. You saw any screen change? You're able to see the verse? Hare Krishna?
No, we are in the slide only. 1.2.16 in essence.
Okay.
Green color slide.
In that verse, it's not there. So, yeah. Saurabh Prabhu, you can recite this verse after me. Okay. Shushlo Shraddha Dhanasya
Sushtusho Shraddhadhanasya
Vasudeva Kadaruchihi
Vasudeva Katharuchihi
Jnan Mahat Sevaya Vipra
Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra
Yatirda Nishevanat.
Punya Tirtha Nisevanat.
Yeah. By twice born sages, who is speaking? Sutta Goswami is speaking to Saunakadya Rishis. By serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice. So it's very important. Devotees are free from all vices. Potentially, every devotee is going through the purification. So therefore, you have to consider potentially in the association of devotees, all are pure devotees. Only time is separating them. By serving those devotees who are completely free from all vices, great service is done. Great service is done. And such service one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. In that association of the devotees, without judging the Vaishnavas, if one very simple-heartedly renders services, then what happens? One gains affinity for hearing the message of the Vasudeva. Affinity means is Adau Shraddha, the faith in Bhakti. So the first symptom that your faith is developed, that is what? Your desire for hearing about Lord increases in the association. That is the first step in Bhakti. For example, you say, Prabhu, I am chanting, I am roaming around holy places, I am attending, taking darshan, and I am having my Govinda's Prasad and taking some selfies and roaming around. My Bhakti is going on. I say no. Or here Sutta Goswami is saying no. That is not Bhakti. Bhakti means the first step which happens is your affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva increases. If it is not increasing, that maybe you are not in a proper association. Or you might be in association, but you are not taking the opportunity to render service. So this is very crucial. So I will just share from the slides which are over there. Yeah. So by touching and conversing, these are the principles which explained in Sadhu Sangha. By touching and conversing with, and in other ways, serving the great souls. By serving conversing means what? You are getting opportunity to hear from devotees regularly. That has to happen regularly. One develops faith in these great souls. These great souls are doing so much. What they're so much, why they chant regularly? Like that, one will begin to wonder about the taste these great souls experience when they speak about Supreme Lord. So we see when Krishnananda Prabhu speaks on holy name, you actually see him, relishing what he's speaking. Recently, we are hearing Param Puja Radhan Maharaj in Ramanavami class. He's speaking for 2 hours. He was speaking. You see that whole pastime of Lord Ram, what he spoke. In general, materially speaking, what the story I'm jante hai. But what you have to see is that with what relishment he's speaking it out. That is more important. And thus, when you see that relishment which the pure devotee is having, you also develop. This will encourage one to hear about him in order to understand it. So therefore, that will encourage and will inspire a devotee. Okay, let me hear regularly. Let me hear it. Let me also develop the same taste which the speaker is having while speaking Khada and relishing it. Let me also develop the same taste. You want to go into finer details. You want to get absorbed in that pastime more and more. This is the beginning step of your bhakti. In this way, the desire to hear about the Lord is born. By hearing about Krishna, one becomes attracted to him. Thus, by hear from great souls, one attains the goal. So, Shyan Mahat Sevaya. This is the next verse you see here. Shushriyo Shraddha Danasya Vasudeva Kadaruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. In this, the 5 stages are explained. In this particular verse alone, in the 16th verse is called a very important verse. And it has composed of 5 stages out of the 14 stages. The first stage is Satam Kripa. It's only by the mercy of devotees you get an opportunity to render service to the pure devotees. You get an opportunity. The moment you come into any ISKCON temple, that means actually you are getting an opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada. The Mahat Seva. The Mahat Seva you're getting there in that particular Mahat Seva. And Prabhupada has opened such temples and such centers everywhere. The moment you come in touch of devotees, that means you're getting opportunity to serve pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada. But how you do that? By rendering whatever opportunities devotees are offering you in their own capacity, in their own limited realizations and experiences they have. There you can't judge. The moment you judge the Vaishnava community, naturally you lose the hope and opportunity to render services to great devotees. Mahat Seva happens by having the association of devotees only. Without association of devotees, if one feels that let me serve Prabhupada directly without the association of devotees, that is impossible. Therefore, the first stage is Satam Kripa. You get the mercy of the devotees who give opportunity to you to render services to Srila Prabhupada. And then happens the service to devotee, Mahat Seva. In that opportunity, when you take it, the Kripa is given, but have you accepted? That is testified by taking that service. Devotees are giving opportunity to hear, but whether you have taken that service of hearing from them, that is up to you. Devotees are giving opportunity for you to come to festivals and participate in them. But are you going for that? Devotees are giving opportunity to attend morning program or the wonderful association which in temple is offering. So are you going and attending, taking it or not? This is called Mahat Seva. In this way, actually, you are serving pure devotees. You are serving Srila Prabhupada. And then in that, regularly doing it consistently, then happens the Shraddha faith. The word, the faith develops. Shraddha Dhanasya. In this particular verse, you saw the Shraddha Dhanasya. Shishishriyo Shraddha Dhana. That happens by Vasudeva Kadaruchihi. Shraddha in the Vasudeva Kadaruchi. And how it happens? Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipraha. In the Mahat Seva of the great souls, when you render this great service to the devotees, then what happens? Then the Vasudeva Kadaruchi. You develop faith in the Vasudeva Kadaruchi. You develop eagerness to hear. Eagerness to hear. Bhajana Spriha. Eagerness to worship. However, the eagerness to worship before that develops in a very strong desire, one develops a great affection for a specific Vaishnava in his life. And that Vaishnava happened to be Guru Padashraya, Guru, the spiritual master. You see the example, you see the community which he has created. You see that how in that community devotees are focused on bhajana, the attaining love for Krishna. And this way you develop a great inspiration to take shelter of him. So these 5 stages are covered in the 16th verse. And after serving the devotees, we begin to desire to hear about Krishna. This is how you have to test. Your bhakti is beginning. How your bhakti is beginning? Okay, bhakti in the heart, the desire to invoke the love which is already covered in the heart. That desire is manifested by first symptom, that is, you develop a desire to hear about Krishna more and more in that association of the pure devotee, especially the spiritual master. And what happens when you develop the desire, bhajana spriya, then the bhajana happens, but the bhajana kriya happens, and that bhajana kriya is Shrandvatan Swataka Krishna. Yeah, somebody would like to repeat? Akash Prabhu, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Shrandvatan Swakatha Krishna.
Prabhuji, screen. नहीं,
You're not able to see.
हाँ प्रभुजी, yes. Sharnavatam Saval Katham Krishna.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Hridayantastoya Badhrani.
Hridaya Anata Sto Hai Abhadrani.
Vidhunoti Sahrit Satam.
Vidhunoti Suhrit Satam.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, the super soul, Chaitya Guru. Okay. The moment you take shelter of the main Guru, then Chaitya Guru also comes in supporting you. The Chaitya Guru, who is in everyone's heart. And the benefit of the truthful devotee cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed urge to hear the messages which are in themselves virtues and popularly heard and chanted. So, one who developed a desire to hear, and he is actually started hearing, that is bhajana kriya. Shrindvata Swata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. The Krishna, he wants to hear about the Krishna, Katha Krishna, Krishna Katha, Krishna Nama Guna Leela, he wants to hear. And he develops a great affection for that hearing process. And then what happens? The Lord within the heart, he reciprocates by removing the anarthas. And the more the anarthas are removed, more the desire to hear about Lord increases further. So this speaks about the bhajana kriya and anartha nivritti together. So, in fact, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his explanation, he gives little differently. Krishna is supremely virtuous. Here, actually, what is happening is bhajana is only happening. Bhajana kriya is happening in this verse. Text number 17, there's only one stage, that is bhajana kriya. The bhakti. Bhakti is happening. Bhakti means what? Krishna is reciprocating. Krishna actually starts reciprocating in bhajana kriya. It's not after nishtha he reciprocates. but he starts helping the devotee as Paramatma. Krishna directly doesn't come there. Krishna, as Paramatma in the heart, he helps. What you have, Krishna is virtuous, so hearing about him, he manifests virtue in us. We start manifesting good qualities. Krishna is a well-wisher, a dearmost friend, and benefactor. In this way, you see, not only the counselor or the guru is reciprocating with you, you also see reciprocation from Krishna within the heart. So, when you are seeking shelter or guidance of counselors or guidance of guru, you should reflect your heart first. Because the moment you start practicing bhakti, Krishna within the heart is also ready to help you. You have to tap. You have to tap that, what you call, energy within the heart, which is actually helping you. In that, in this book, The Journey Home, Prabhuji Radhanath Maharaj speaks about a lot of these things. Krishna is a Suhrat, dearmost friend, well-wisher and benefactor. He started reflecting daily. And that devotee is called truthful devotee. He is truthful at the core of his heart. He removes such a truthful devotee. What happens is, then Krishna sees, he is ready to take my consultation. He is ready to take my guidance from within. Then he removes the inauspiciousness from those devotees' life. And naturally, this eagerness to hear about Lord increases further. And the anartha starts removed, start getting eradicated with the help of Paramatma within the heart. And these anarthas are potential in disturbing the devotee's devotional services, the bhajana. But the devotee continues the bhajana because he finds the reciprocation. See, until as you are not grateful to Lord's consistent reciprocation, you can't be consistent in your practice of devotional service. For consistency, you have to see the consistency. You want to be consistent in bhakti, first reflect in your heart how much Lord is helping you. In fact, if you carefully observe within your heart, you will see Krishna's reciprocation now and then. And the form of Paramatma is helping now and then, every time. And naturally, this should develop a desire in your heart to hear from about him more and more. So, in this way, here Krishna Chakravarti Thakur speaks about the first in this stage. One stage is explained, that is Bhajana Spriya, the Bhakti, Bhajana Kriya. Eagerness to worship indicated by Shrunvatam Swatak Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Eagerness to worship. And then what happens from that desire to hear, follow the practice of hearing, chanting. And as I mentioned earlier, devotional service is voluntary. It cannot be forced. How long you can force? You can't force anyone. No? Therefore, we give voluntarily. Okay, accept it voluntarily, go ahead in life. But for going ahead in life, you need to see the reciprocation. हमेशा गुरु आके आपको गले के सिर के ऊपर हाथ लगा के बोलेंगे चलो चलो बेटा मेरे साथ चलो भक्ति करो. ये गुरु नहीं बोलेंगे रेगुलरली, but Paramatma is there always. The Chaitanya Guru is ready to help you. He is ready to reciprocate with you. You have to just tap him. Tap that power. Tap that reciprocation. Once you connect to him, you find your bhakti becomes very consistent. The Bhajana Kriya becomes very consistent. Because you see, Lord is also helping you very much. See, until we don't reflect in our life, reflect within the heart, you can't grow outside externally. You want to grow externally outside, then internally you need to focus. Internally we need to focus. It's like I say that there were devotees when they hear, ponder about what they heard. When you ponder, okay, the services when you are doing, do it heartily. Give your mind energy into it. Not that so much follow-up has to be done for getting one service. And then you should connect to that service. Relate with it. Because Krishna within the heart is there. Without his sanction, not even a blade of grass can move. Then how is that you're getting opportunity to render services? How are you getting opportunity to hear? It is by his own sanction. See that connection. And when you see that connection consistently, your bhajana will be consistent. And what occurs after we become very eager to hear and we actually start practicing the bhakti? Then happen the anartha nivritti. Yeah. Who would like to recite after Akash? Amit Dudev. Amit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Amit Dudev. After that, Amit K. Prabhu will speak. Right. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
प्रायेषु अभ्रदेषु
nityam bhagavata sevaya
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
bhagavati uttama shloke
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
bhaktir bhavati naishtaki.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी.
Yeah. So when you start consistently practicing devotional service, observing the consistent reciprocation of Paramatma, who is a Chaitya Guru within the heart, and at times the regular guidance of the Gurus, Siksha Gurus and Diksha Guru, what happens is the Nashta Prayeshu, all the Anadda starts Abhadra. Abhadras gets removed. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu happens. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By regular attendance. Then what happens? The Nitya Bhagavata Seva. Nitya. The firm faith, the firm steadiness, the matured faith develops. And Anartha Nivritti. So Anartha Nivritti and the Nishta. Both are focused in this particular verse number 18. Anartha Nivritti and Nishta. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. And here also speaking about the Bhakti or Bhajana Kriya. This verse gives some glimpse of Bhajana Kriya in the form of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and then in the form of Bhaktir Bhavati. That Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is a part of Bhajana Kriya, regularly doing the Bhajana Kriya. And then what happens by regularly doing like this? Then Nashta Prayeshu, the Anartha Nivritti happens. Krishna removes all Abhadras, and all Abhadras are not removed, as I mentioned earlier. Gradually he removes one, what he will need. And then Nashta, and you also endeavor to be free from all the Abhadras. Not that you, in the core of your heart, secret of your heart, you maintain the desires. That is not welcomed. That is not appreciated. You also feel like getting rid of all those anarthas. And Krishna is also helping in removing those anarthas. And then what happens? Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. You develop that great affinity. And then our bhakti becomes nishtha. We develop naistika. The firm faith, the matured faith is developed. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to personality of Godhead, who is praised with the transcendental songs, is established an irreversible fact. Irrevocable fact. The loving service. The Nishta is what about? You are lovingly performing devotional service without any breaks. The love should be there. Okay. The love to render the service. Earlier you are doing as a duty the bhakti principles, and now at the Nishta stage, actually you like to do those activities. You love to do those activities. You love to do, and you are consistent in it. Sufficiently finding the reciprocation. Therefore, in this particular verse, we see how Bhagavatam is spoken as a remedy. Here is the remedy for eliminating all inauspicious things within the heart. So I would request, make a point when you are told to read sections of Bhagavatam, you read it. Take shelter. Nityam, as Megamati mentioned, after coming in ISKCON, only then I came to know that there is that Nitya Bhagavatam. Why Prabhupada has given everyday morning program, everyday morning, hearing Bhagavatam. Why he kept it? Because that is very, very crucial. Nityam Bhagavatam, not Bhagavad Sapta. Yes, Bhagavad Sapta is also good in order to promote or preach to the new people, but for old people, old devotees to remain consistent, Nityam Bhagavatam is important. Bhagavatam Nityam hona chahiye. Which are considered obstacles in Bhagavad. The remedy is the association of Bhagavatas. See, moment you take shelter of book Bhagavat regularly, then you are sure to get the association of a person Bhagavat. So Bhagavat is very merciful. Bhagavat has manifested within this material world after Krishna disappeared. So it's a merciful avatar of the Lord Krishna in the Kali Yuga. The merciful avatar, in which all avatars have completely there in there. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Namo Mahavadanya avatar. He has taken shelter of Bhagavatam only in the childhood. He holded Bhagavatam and they took it. And Srila Prabhupada took shelter of that Bhagavat only while going to Jaladota, preaching in the Western world. So both the Bhagavatas are competent remedies, and both of them are either of them can be good enough to eliminate the obstacles. However, in our case, it's either of them doesn't mean that you compromise one of them. Okay, either of them means each of them are equally potential. However, when you are practicing taking shelter of book Bhagavat, don't underestimate the value of person Bhagavat. And while taking shelter of a person Bhagavat, don't underestimate the potency of a book Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat and person Bhagavat are very, very crucial. In this way, we see that how these two are very crucial. So the three stages are explained in the 18th verse. The Bhakti derived from the Bhagavad Bhakti. The Bhakti means basically the Bhajana Kriya. Consistent Bhajana Kriya is called as Bhakti. Okay. And then another Nivritti happens. Nashta Prayesha Vadreshu, by that particular line in the verse. And then Nishta, the Naistiki word. The word Naistiki signifies Nishta. And once a devotee develops the Nishta, what occurs a devotee after reaching the steadiness, then comes the next range, that is getting a Ruchi, higher taste. He gets higher taste. So text number 19 speaks about the next two stages, Ruchi and Asakti. Yeah, somebody would like to recite? Amit K. Prabhu. You are there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
After a long time you have joined.
Yes. Sorry.
Please recite after me. Okay.
Sure.
Tadārajastamo bhava.
Tadarajastamo bhava.
Kamalobhadayascha
Kamalobhadayascha.
Chete eiterana vidham.
Chete eter anavidham.
Stitam sattve prasidhati.
Asthitam sattve prasidhati.
So these verses are quite, it goes more technical. Not because they are technical, because we are not at the level of maturity to appreciate these verses and relate these verses. However, I am very, very thankful to Megha Mataji for highlighting, giving a personal example from her life, about how when a person is not in touch of Bhakti, is bogged down by mode of passion ignorance. In fact, it's even as a devotee, we are also very much affected by a mode of passion and ignorance. Whole world around, the moment you come out of the screen, your room itself may be filled with mode of passion and ignorance. And as soon as you go out of your house, it will be more filled with passion and ignorance. And the interactions, the goals which are set by the companies or your family, everything is derived from mode of passion and ignorance. Living such life is very difficult, because passion and ignorance both are pulling you down. It pulls you down. It makes you hopeless. It makes you feel that life is it's not worth living. Such type of aspects happen because of tada rajas tamo bhava. Rajas and tama have taken a great charge over us. And therefore, you want to be free from the tada, rajas, and tama bhava. It's expected that you take a consistent support of a pure devotee in the association of the Vaishnavas and practice consistently the devotional principles. Then you first find the reciprocation of Krishna within the heart. And the second step of that, which happens is that reciprocation, is that you find you are developing distaste in both passionate activities and ignorant activities. You develop distaste. That is called ruchi. And the ruchi is kama lobha dayaschaye. Mode of passion ignorance generally manifest the lusty desires, greedy desires, and other things, and other anarthas. But you start developing distaste in those things. You start reflecting, why I am so much bogged down with this? These are not very good. So that is basically you're developing ruchi. What is that ruchi I'm developing? I am developing distaste in material things, but you're developing a great taste in spiritual divine qualities. You're developing a great taste in spiritual life, mode of lifestyle, which is based on goodness, based on sattva guna. You develop on the goodness level, you start developing the taste. As soon as there are full relationship established, such as Last Shankara, the receptor from the heart, then the devotee is established in goodness. He develops in a Sitvam Sattve Prashiddhati. And Chaite Raite Ranavidham, Sitvam Sattve Prashiddhati. And then this another stage which is explained here is after Ruchi Asakti. So we'll see these two verses. In the verse number 2, stages are explained. Ruchi, the taste. The heart is not pierced anymore by sense objects. Thus one arrives at actual spiritual taste. Sense objects don't ponder him much. Okay. See, when you're frustrated materially, don't expect that immediately you'll come to the level of distaste. See, distaste doesn't come by frustration in the taste. If you're materially frustrated, that is happening in many lifetimes. By materially getting frustrated is not that you develop distaste. You develop distaste by consistent practice of devotional service under the constant guidance of a pure devotee in the association of the devotees. Only that will bring out distaste in material aspects. Ordinary frustrations which we experience now and then will not lead to distaste. You may be looking for the same taste in another form. That's what happens. And Atash Asakti. Asakti is the firm attachment. He becomes fixed. He becomes fixed in the mode of goodness or mode of pure goodness. He becomes fixed. Asakti. There's a great fondness. He develops a great attachment. Attachment to the devotional activities and that type of lifestyle. He can't live without it. That is asakti. Ruchi is not having taste in material things and developing taste in spiritual aspects. And asakti is like you develop a great fondness. You love when the day will come, when the time will come in the day where I can chant more rounds. You will look for when the day will come when I can read more than 4-5 years of Prabhupada books or read Bhagavatam and understand. Hare Prabhu, when that time will come when I'll go for yatra and take darshan of Lord and spend time not in eating and taking selfies, but hearing and chanting more and more. You would like to go and sit in front of Sri Jagannath in Sri Kshetra Puri, not in Ananda Bajar, but you would like to sit in one corner and chant the names of Jagannath and do his bhajan. You would like to go to Vrindavan, not into that, what you call Loi Bazaar, but you wanted to go and actually sit at the lotus feet of Govinda Dev and recite various bhajans and chant more, hear about him more. Like that, Asakti develops, great fondness, warm attachment, and that progresses will experience a Sakshati. That's the 19th verse speaks. And then comes the next 4 stages. After Asakti comes Bhava, Prema, and observing the Lord and experiencing the Lord. This is explained in the text number 20. Yeah. Who would like to recite? Amritendra Prabhu. Yeah, Amritendra Prabhu. You're there? Advil? Yeah, sometimes I see devotees are there, but their mics are not working or they are not visible. Okay, Anand Gaurang Prabhu, please.
Yes, Guruji.
Evam prasanna manaso
Evam prasanna manaso
bhagavad bhakti yogatah
Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha
bhagavad tattva vijnanam
Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam
mukta sangasya jayate.
Mukta Sangasya Jayate.
Yeah. Evam prasanna manaso, man matlab mind, man matlab heart. Both mind and heart becomes enlivened. Evam prasanna, becomes so happy. And this stage is called as bhava, rati. You develop fine, tender sentiments within the heart. You start experiencing very sensitive feelings within your mind. You start experiencing manaso. And in this way, both heart and mind becomes very enlivened by such reciprocations which come and realizations which come. Bhava stage, rati stage, this is. And Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha, by that contact with devotional service, this is where the prema is explained, the love, pure love for Krishna. The 9th stage in the out of those, or in this, it's stage number 12. Bhagavad Bhakti, the Bhakti to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that manifest. And Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangasya Jayate. These two explain the next 2 stages as per Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, that is, you get to see the Lord. You get the vision of the Lord. Just like Narada boy, he got the vision of the Lord. But as soon as Lord came, he gave him some anubhati. He touched him, or Narada, he gave a vision, he spoke to him afterwards and told, you have to purify yourself more and more. So Mukta Sangasya Jayate, you experience the sweetness of the Lord. In this way, Narada also reflected. Actually, these verses will become more relevant when we discuss that stage of Narada. Then it becomes very easy. As soon as one understands that he has nothing to do with the matter, he at once sees his mental anchorings and becomes enlivened as a spiritual being. This attainment of success is possible when one is above the mode of passion ignorance. Only above mode of tada rajas tamo bhava, then only this good spiritual activity. And that sattva is called as brahmana. But the brahmana stage is not sufficient. Prabhupada mentions, as Mataji also highlighted very much. The brahmana stage se kya hona chahiye? Sattva sattva prasiddhati. Then evam prasanna manaso. One has to develop the finer devotional sentiments within the heart and within the mind. Devotional sentiments within the heart and devotional feelings, tender feelings within the mind. And this happens by becoming good devotee. You cannot be at Brahmanical stage, you cannot be possible. So one has to grow more. One has to surpass the Brahmanical stage and reach the Vasudeva stage to understand personal Godhead. Study the personality of Godhead is the subject matter of study of postgraduate students. Foolish men or men with poor fund of knowledge do not understand Supreme Lord, and they interpret Krishna according to their respective views. The fact is, however, that one cannot understand science of personality unless one is fixed from contamination of mental bodies. When a qualified Brahmana actually becomes a Vaishnava, he is in the enlivened state of liberation, he can know what is. So Brahmana is at Sattva stage, but a Vaishnava is at enlivened stage. Sattva stage is a stage where you are attached to a specific life free from mode of passion ignorance. But a Vaishnava stage, a Vaishnava level is what? Is developed a finer sentiments with Krishna. And that is what the stage is. So the 4 stages are explained in the 20 verse. Rati, the fondness, indicated with the phrase Evam Prasanna Manaso. And then the prema, devotional Bhagavad Bhakti, with that word Bhagavad Bhakti phrase. And then Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. One start receiving realizations of Krishna. Realizations. And these realizations sometimes take a physical form, where actually he sees Krishna. Till now, he is only experiencing Krishna's hand, but actually he will see Krishna's hand. Till now, he is finding the reciprocation, Lord talking within the heart, but now he will see Krishna directly speaking from the deity. Darshanam and Harer Madhuryanubhava, the sweetness of the Lord. These both stages are added by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. And why he added specifically? Because in these stages there is a reciprocation directly from the Lord. That is Krishna alone. Okay. In this way, this till 20 verse, all the 14 stages are explained. And in the next 2, he further elaborates. In the next 2 verses, he further elaborates. I'll just tell what are the effects of developing the pure love. Let us explain the text number 19, 21 and 22. Okay. We are going. We'll conclude with these 2 verses. Yes. Atul Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah. Vidyate Hridaya Grantes.
Vidyate Hridaya Grantes.
Vidyante Sarva Shamshayah.
Chidyante Sarva Santhaya.
Shiyante Chasya Karmani.
Shiyante Chasya Karmani.
Drishta Eva Atmanishware.
Drishta Eva Maniswari.
Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of root action is terminated when ceases the self was mastered. So how to understand this verse? This is the effect of developing pure bhakti. See, we are in this material world because of that knot. What is that knot? The knot of material attachment. All of you know the story of Kailash. Kailash was very much attached to his family. And every time Narada was telling him, come with me, I will take you to spiritual. He said, I have some duty to perform. And this knot doesn't easily get removed. He was changed, he died, but he took birth as a snake. Still his knot was not removed. He was fondly attached. Then he died, he took form as a dog. Still his attachment was not going. Then he died again and took the form of like that he was changing forms. Because of great knot of attachment. And this knot is keeping this material world life after life. And what happens is when you perform bhakti, this knot gets removed. And that's what Kunti Maharani is praying. Please remove that knot of attachment which I have for Pandavas and Vrishnis. Because of my husband, I was connected to my maternal family, my husband's family side. And because of my own family, that is Vrishni. So I'm connected both ways. And these attachments are keeping me in this material world. Please remove that knot of attachment. She prays to Krishna directly like that. And that time a devotee gains control over his senses. And that's why he becomes a master. One sees himself as a master. That means he's able to master his senses. Master his senses and keep himself. And then now in Sutta Goswami, concluding this first 2 questions, answer the bhakti, he speaks the next verse. He speaks the next verse in which he tells about why a person will not give attention to hearing about the wonderful activities of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So I request Roshni Mataji. Hare Krishna. Roshni. Hare Krishna. Roshni Mataji,
Yes, Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
please recite this verse. Ato vai kavayo nityam
Ato vai kavyo nityam
bhaktim paramayanamuda
bhaktim paramaya moda
vasudeve bhagavati
me bhagavati
kurvanti atma prasadinim.
pantyatma prasadinam.
So certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna. He said, in the beginning, the bhakti begins with hearing process. And bhakti continues with the hearing process. And bhakti, in the culmination of bhakti, when the knots in the heart gets removed, which are piercing from life after life, when the hearts are removed, even that stage, the devotee continues to hear about the personality of Godhead. Because he likes to hear, he loves to hear. And especially would like to hear about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With great delight, because such devotional is enlivening to the self. That devotional service of hearing about directly the Supreme Personality of God of Krishna is very enlivening to the self. Not only is the mind and heart are enlivening, his own self, the Atma gets enlivened by hearing process. In the hearing process, especially of Krishna, they become. In this way, Sutta Goswami is hinting answer to the further questions. He is giving an answer to the questions which asked by Saunakadi rishis in next 4 questions. They ask about what are the Leela avatars of Krishna, what are the Purusha avatars of Krishna. So in answering, he is giving an indication. He is just highlighting on this aspect that how hearing all great Mahabhagavatas heard about Krishna, and that's how they became Mahabhagavatas. Now, why don't you hear about Krishna? So in this way, these 14 stages are explained in this particular 6 to 7 verses. Okay, I just made a what you call it is I don't know. So I'm forgetting it. We make one. We coin a term. I coined a term. Okay, in order to understand these 14 stages, you can write it down. If it's possible. I have not listed in this PPT. I wrote in my mobile. Advancement in love. Okay, advancement in love to see Krishna face to face and experience his sweetness. Okay, these explain all the 14 stages. Advancement in love to see Krishna, experience him. To see Krishna face to face and experience him. Experience his sweetness. Okay, these explain the 14 stages. Advancement, ADVANCEMENT. Advancement. A stands for Association of Municipal Devotees. Satam Kripa. Like I showed the earlier times. Yeah. The Satam Kripa, that is the association. A, advancement. In the A, first A stands for Association of Municipal Devotees. And D stands for the devotional service in that association. So in the municipal devotee, they give opportunity to render service. Mahat Seva, devotional service. And you do that devotional service. Then comes V. V stands for the volatile faith. The Shraddha, which comes in that association of the devotees in the beginning, is volatile. It's very volatile. Matlab, it may get evaporated if you are not in association regularly. We develop a volatile faith in the devotees, in the bhakti process, and like that you continue. If you don't maintain the consistency, continuity, then what happens? Your faith gets evaporated. It's called volatile faith. And then come the A, another A, advancement A. A stands for aspiration for Guru Padashram. You aspire initiation from a Guru whom you are very much inspired. And that's how your Shraddha process is concluded. And then comes N. N stands for the Bhajana Spriya, need to practice bhakti as per the guidance of Guru. Till now you are doing bhakti because somebody told you to do. But right now in Bhajana Spriya, you develop that need. No, I need to practice. I need to practice consistently because I'm very inspired by my Guru. I need to practice it. Need to practice bhakti under the Guru's guidance. Then comes C. C stands for consistency in bhakti principles. And that is the bhakti, the sixth stage here. The bhakti. Your bhajana kriya is consistent. Naistika bhajana kriya. Pehle anistika bhajana kriya. You develop the need, but now you start be consistent in the devotional practices. And E stands for eradication of obstacles. Eradication of anartha nivritti happens. All the obstacles which are now here and there troubling you, you start getting free from them. Anartha nivritti. And M stands for matured faith, nishtha. Nishtha is about matured faith. And naistika, matured faith, but the faith is very consistent there. It doesn't get faded away. Rather, with that faith, you can instill the faith in others also. In fact, for a devotee, you should develop, you should try to be at the level of nishtha in order to help others. They have to try to be at the nishtha level. His faith is very consistent. It is not wavered. He loves to do his bhajana, but he develops a consistent faith. Then E, advancement, MNT. ME stands for enriching taste. Ruchi. Enriching is very enriching. The material taste is very disgusting. It is nectar in the beginning and poisoning at the end. But this taste, the spiritual taste, enriching. It may look very poison in the beginning, but very nectarian. It nurturing, it nurtures the taste. It nurtures you more and more, enriching taste. And N stands for the natural affection. After Ruchi comes Asakti. Asakti is natural affection which you have for Lord, for Guru, for devotional practices. You have natural affection. That affection starts manifesting Asakti. And after Asakti comes Bhava, Rati. Rati is tenderness in your heart and in mind. The last T stands for advancement. The T stands for tenderness in the heart and mind. For Krishna and for the bhakti process. You develop tender feelings, tender sentiments in the heart and tender feelings in the mind. And then in this way, advancement will lead advancement in love, the prema, the 12th stage, devotional love. And once you advance in this particular love, then you get to see the Lord, darshanam of the Lord. You get to see the Lord, you get the darshan, vision of the Lord. And you also experience the Harer Madhuryanubhava, the sweetness of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So, I would like to conclude here and thank each one of you for taking out your time consistently. We are going till 9 o'clock, as I mentioned earlier, because we are doing it weekly once, so giving sufficient time is crucial. And those who have some duties, they have to leave immediately, they can keyboard, but we'll try to keep it not crossing 9 o'clock. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I think there's one question which came here.